But first, we're going to go down to the field as our head coach of our team here, John Leone, has a special guest.
Sure do, Matt. Thank you. You know, one of the more dynamic courses of study here at Lafayette is called Policy Studies, and it's headed up by Professor Mark Crane. And what it does is actually exposes our students to leadership experiences nationally, globally, both politically and economically. I'm here with two outstanding students. Within that department is a program called Lafayette Lens. It's actually a public broadcast, and these two young men are intimately involved with that. Let's talk first to Rob Howe. Rob is a double major, economics and government law. And Rob, you've kind of tackled the issue of globalization in a different way. Talk a little bit about your generation, what you're referred to, and the evolution of that program.
Right. Well, so our segment is it's about first globals, and essentially we are the millennial generation. You know, anybody born after, I believe it's about 1986. And the idea is that this is the first generation that really identifies themselves more globally versus domestically. So in a sense, you're kind of more of a global citizen, and that's kind of the rationale and the mindset that this new generation has.
Tell us how you got involved with the program, who approached you. I know Mark Crane well. He's the kind of guy that'll drag you out of the hallway and volunteer you for stuff.
Yeah, well, he did do that. Let me say that. You know, I actually just ended up taking his class, not even knowing that we were going to end up being, doing this kind of thing. And it's really been an interesting experience for me. You know, I've never been involved in something like this, and it's something that really could teach you not only some technical skills, but some good life skills to carry with you.
Has it had an influence in terms of your thought process going forward after graduation? A lot of times kids come to a place like Lafayette, and it's a place of discovery. They don't really know what the game plan is when they get out, but how has this program changed that for you?
You know, I don't think I'm going to end up getting into production, broadcasting, anything like that. But that being said, working with groups, time schedules, all these different logistics that go into the production, it really, teaches you skills that you could carry with you in any aspect of life.
Yeah, you really are at the heart of putting the whole program together, I guess, Rob. Tell us a little bit about some of those challenges, depending on other people, making sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed.
Right. So I'm the line producer, and essentially, I'm the, in a way, the babysitter a little bit. I have this, I have the schedule, and essentially I'm always checking up on people with emails, working with the human resources, really making sure there's cameras available, that people have time to go to the editing room, and kind of bridging the gap between the PBS 39 personnel, who we work closely with, and the students who, really do a majority of the work. They just need that guiding personnel with them. So I kind of bridge the gap a little bit, and it's been an interesting experience for me.
It absolutely sounds like it, Rob. Congratulations, great job, and I'm going to give the dates and the time for the broadcast in just a moment. But before we do that, let's turn our attention to Stefano Valle. And Stefano, you're going to have to tell me your major, because I wasn't allowed to take a major unless I could spell it.
My major is actually international economics and commerce. It focuses on global trade and monetary policy around the world. So,
yeah, and obviously, I mean, I love the whole notion of policy studies, because it is such an interdisciplinary thing, and it touches everything, economics and politics. You're talking a little bit about a three-dimensional printer program, and it's a specific thing that Lafayette has a close connection to.
Yeah, broadly speaking, we're producing an in-depth expose on 3D printing, additive manufacturing. It's a new technology that really is revolutionizing the way that we produce and manufacture products, and it's been an unbelievable experience to work with Professor Crane.
Okay, now I've seen ours, and again, we'll get into Lafayette's personal connection with 3D printing, but tell us what a 3D printer is, and maybe from your perspective, what kind of implications 3D printing has on the future of manufacturing.
Okay, well, it's the same thing as a traditional printer that uses ink and paper, but instead of ink and paper, it uses different types of polymers, plastics, metals to produce three-dimensional objects that can be used for household appliances, even prosthetic limbs and hearing aids and things like that you couldn't even think that has to be customized. It's pretty great technology that's really changing the way that we manufacture things.
I've actually seen it at work, and it started off with printing something as simple as a plastic fork, but you also had a chance to interact with a Lafayette graduate, Kent Rockwell, class of '66. He's a venture capitalist who really got in on the ground floor. Tell us about your experience in meeting Mr. Rockwell and what that did for you.
Mr. Rockwell is an unbelievable and such an accomplished man. He's a trustee and an alumnus of Lafayette, and he's the chairman and CEO of X1 Company. It's additive manufacturing which does prototyping and builds these machines. Actually, the one that we have in Acopian is actually donated by his company. Yeah.
And again, Stefano, tell us again. I work in alumni affairs now, and I see what these folks do for our college. It sounds like you both are on the same kind of path. Giving back to the college is important. Was this part of your game plan? I'll ask you the same question that I asked Rob. Was this part of your game plan going forward when you got here, or something you discovered in the process?
Well, I think that's very important what you mentioned. I think Lafayette alumnus really give back to the community. I think that's very important. Mr. Rockwell was more than happy to come back and interview with us, and he provided really the core of our production. I didn't really plan on taking, just like Rob, I just kind of fell into it, and I've been very pleasantly surprised with the experience.
Well, you've done a great job with it. Before we leave, I want to make sure that we get the dates down. This program is going to air on PBS Channel 39 on November 22nd, 24th, and 25th. Please make sure you stay tuned. It's a great illustration. You guys are terrific, and a great illustration of what goes on inside and outside the classroom here at Lafayette. You know, Matt and Maurice and Phil, let Gary and Mike know I used to feel pretty secure in my job. After I watched this thing, suddenly I'm not so secure. Back to you guys.